Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome everyone to today's morning Bhagavatam class. Today we are reading from chapter 18. We have 4 verses today from 13 to 16 of Canto 10, chapter 18. So let me just share the screen. Okay. Oops. Is the screen being shared? Yeah? Okay, yeah, with the verse. Okay, great. Okay. So we'll just quickly go through the Sanskrit verses. This is 10, 18, 13. Kvachin nityatsu chanyesu gayako vadakau swayam shasham satur maharaja sadhu sadhaviti vadino. Translation. While the other boys were dancing, O king, Krishna and Balram would sometimes accompany them with with song and instrumental music, and sometimes the two lords would praise the boys, saying, "Very good, very good." 14. Kvachit bilve kvachit kumbhe kvacham balaka mushtibhi apshriya netra bandhaye kvachin mriga khageyaha. Sometimes the cowherd boys would play with bilva kumbha fruits and sometimes with handful of amalaka fruits. At other times, they would play the games of trying to touch one another or of trying to identify somebody while one is blindfolded. And sometimes they would imitate animals and birds. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that the word adye by other such sports indicates such games as chasing one another and building bridges. Another pastime would occur at noon, while Lord Krishna was taking rest. Nearby, the young cowherd girls would be passing by, singing, and Krishna's boyfriends would pretend to inquire from them about the price of milk. Then the boys would steal yogurt and other items from them and run away. Krishna, Balram, and their friends would also play games in which they would cross the river in boats. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur further explains that the boys would play with fruits by throwing a few in the air and then throwing others to try to hit them. The word Netrabandha indicates a game in which one boy would approach a blindfolded boy from behind and place his palms over the blindfolded boy's eyes. Then simply by the feel of his palms, the blindfolded boy would have to guess who the other boy was. In all such games, the boys put up stakes for the winner, such as flutes or walking sticks. Sometimes the boys would imitate the various fighting methods of the forest animals, and at other times they would chirp like birds. How sweet. Verse 15. Kvachikcha durdara plaver vividher upahasike kadachit sandyalo ki kaya karhichin ripacheshtaya. They would sometimes jump around like frogs, sometimes play various jokes, sometimes ride in swings, and sometimes imitate monarchs. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains the word Netracheshtaya as follows. In Vrindavan, there was a particular place on the river bank where people who wanted to cross the Yamuna would pay a small tax as a dankeli. At times, the cowherd boys would assemble in this area and prevent the young girls of Vrindavan from crossing the river, insisting that they had to pay a customs duty first. Such activities were full of joking and laughter. Verse 16. Evam tau loka siddhabhi kridabhis cheraturvane nadiyadri droni kunjeshu kananeshu sarah sucha. In this way, Krishna and Balram played all sorts of well-known games as they wandered among the rivers, hills, valleys, bushes, trees, and lakes of Vrindavan. Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtai Bhutile Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So the verses that we read, this is the topmost knowledge. And we're going to discuss this topmost knowledge. And before I discuss that, I seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas, Adi Purush Prabhu here, and those joining online, those here in the temple hall. So when I was reading through these verses, I just thought that, if someone is coming to our Bhagavatam class and they hear us talking about, children, apparently, Cowherd Boys playing these games. And, they come with this whole idea that we're going to discuss, about philosophy, about the topmost knowledge, about Brahman, Paramatma, and God knows, what conceptions like people come in when they come into here a class. And they'll be like, wait, you're discussing games being played by some boys? Like, what is this? And yet this is the topmost knowledge because it's mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, which really kicks out all kinds of religious, which is not in tune with bhakti. So this is the topmost knowledge. Raj Vidya Rajaguhya, Krishna says. Yes, that's in Bhagavad Gita, but Bhagavad Gita is actually leading to Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is what Krishna wants us to know. If you see in the whole of Srimad Bhagavad Puran, there is a good amount of philosophy. Yes, Bhagavad Gita is full of philosophy, but in the first 9 cantos especially, Krishna doesn't reveal his true form yet because that is a very confidential part of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In fact, we are advised to just keep reading cantos 1 and 2 unless we are at a level where we can actually understand in totality the real depth, the real essence of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. It's only by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya that that we are able to read these pastimes, even though definitely I'm not ready for it yet. So this is the topmost knowledge that we are supposed to discuss. And how is this knowledge of the games that Krishna and Balram are playing with their cowherd friends, how is it going to help us get to the spiritual realm, help us get Krishna? So, we've heard of people who have amnesia. Amnesia is when people start losing their memory. They kind of like forget what they were doing in this life itself, what they were doing previous to before they got amnesia. But one of the ways in which amnesia patients are treated is by placing them in contact with people, with people who they knew before, like say their family, their friends. They're taken to places where maybe they resided, where they worked, where they did some activities over there. Maybe, like show them their home, their school, maybe some favorite items, some books or something that they like to read. And this is basically to connect them to who they were. And gradually they start remembering, oh yes, this is what I did. This is how my life was actually. So we are also amnesia patients right now because we have, since millions of lifetimes, we have forgotten Krishna. We have forgotten our spiritual nature. We have forgotten the life, the activities that we had when we were with Krishna and Golok Vrindavan. And because we have identified so much with our material identifications, so much of our time and consciousness is invested in in just catering to the false ego again and again, that we have actually forgotten who we really are and what our relationship is with Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Urdhva Moolam Adha Shakham Ashwatham Prahur Avyayam Chandam Si Asyasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavid. So it means that there is a banyan tree which has its roots upwards and its branches down, and the leaves are the Vedic hymns. And the one who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. So basically, the idea is that when we see a reflection, we are actually supposed to remember the real thing. Okay, because we have to realize that what is the reflection, what is the real thing. So when we see anytime, ordinary like children just playing, we should ideally be remembering the pastimes of Krishna and Balram. But yes, we're seeing these kids play, but actually this propensity comes from Krishna and Balram, because they are the ones who are playing there eternally with their friends. But nowadays, when we hear about Krishna and Balram, these pastimes, I mean, you won't believe, but the first thought that came in my mind is that, yeah, I remember playing some of these games in my childhood. I'm kind of like connecting it to me. It's not about Krishna and Balram, it's about me. Whenever we see a young couple on the road, we should be remembering, okay, yeah, this propensity is coming because Radha and Krishna are there in the spiritual world. But now whenever we see young couples, or even sometimes even when we read about these pastimes of Radha and Krishna, we remember maybe some movie actors and actresses, or some romantic scene in a movie or something. So basically our mind is so attached to the reflection that we have forgotten the reality. And sadhana bhakti is primarily there to bring the focus back on Krishna. It gives the focus back and again keep it on Krishna. So because the world that we're living in right now, that is the dream world, and the spiritual world is the reality. We should remember Krishna Balram. We should remember real Radha Krishna. We should try to remember, or at least try to pray that we remember our spiritual nature day by day, minute by minute, whenever we read these pastimes of the Lord with his devotees. And these pastimes are actually very, very special, because even in the 10th canto, in the previous chapter, in chapter 12, it's mentioned especially about these cowherd boys, that all these in chapter 12 from verses 7 to 11, it is mentioned that these cowherd boys used to play with Krishna, who is the source of all Brahman effulgence that the Gyanis, they desire to merge into. He's the supreme personality of Godhead for the devotees who have accepted that they're eternally going to be his servants. And for ordinary persons, Krishna is just an ordinary child. But the cowherd boys, having accumulated the results of pious activities for many lifetimes, were able to associate in this way, means by playing all these games, by associating with him, almost, as if they defeated Krishna, in love and devotion, they always defeat Krishna. So they associated with Krishna in this way. And how can one explain their good fortune? It's amazing. We can't explain their good fortune. Because we were actually also playing with Krishna and Balram in the spiritual world, and now look what we have done. We are leading such a miserable life because we're totally engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and we are caught in the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. But these cowherd boys, they're just playing, they're just enjoying. They have no care for old age and disease or anything. None of these things happen in the spiritual world. This is real life. This is real fun. They're jumping, playing like frogs. And Srila Prabhupada also said that this place, this material world, is not a fit place for a gentleman. We're not actually meant to be here. We are meant to be there with them. Srila Prabhupada also said that it's a famous line that I'm waiting for the time when I can join Krishna and Balram and all the cowherd boys by eating samosas and kachoris with them. Prabhupada is telling us what we're supposed to do. So clear, it's right there in front of us. These are the pastimes we should be engaging in. And you see, all these pastimes, they're just so blissful. They're just full of fun and play, all joking. Even the Dan Keli pastimes, taking taxes from the cowherd girls. It's some of them acting like monarchs and kings and everything. They're jumping on each other. And it's all in fun and play. Even in fun and play, like this chapter is entitled The Slaying of Pralambasur Demon. How did Balramji, how did he like slay Pralambasur? He didn't use any weapons. He just punched him with his fist. That's it. It was all in fun and play. Yeah. Like boom, that's it. And that's how Pralambasur was liberated. It's all in fun and play for them. This is the trailer for us to go back to Godhead. Don't waste your time in like really frivolous matters, trivial matters, in catering to the false ego, catering to the false pride. Just let go of all these things and join Krishna in his eternal pastimes. Because Anand Mayobhyasat, this is our actual position. We are by souls Sachidanand. Because Krishna is Sachidanand. So as Jivas, we are also Sachidanand. But because we got envious of Krishna and his devotees in the spiritual world, we had to leave him. Our bodies are just so fallible here, but we are just like constantly like catering to it, taking care of it, whole day, whole night. We're just thinking how to take care of it. But in the spiritual world, we see in the previous verses that there is, there is no such false ego, there is no such envy amongst any devotees over there. In the spiritual world, even the bamboo is the flutes. Krishna's flutes are made out of bamboo, and the whole bamboo family over there is thinking, how fortunate are we, because one of our family members is always touching the lips of Krishna. Even the gopis don't get to do that, but our bamboo, our one of our family members is getting to do that. So there is just no pride. In fact, it's mentioned in Nectar of Devotion. I was hearing that even Srimati Radharani, when she's the topmost devotee of Krishna, but when she sees Subal and Krishna, embracing each other without any cares in this world, even she's transcendentally like thinking, wow, Subal is just so lucky. He can just embrace Krishna anytime, whereas we have to wait for the dark, go into a kunja, have our privacy, and then, we can embrace each other and, perform our conjugal pastimes. But Subal is just so lucky. There's just no envy. There is just love and devotion in the spiritual world. And this love and devotion is the goal towards which we have to attain. We have to attain that in our life. It depends actually on how much you really want to go there. It depends on how much you actually want Krishna in your life. We have to decide that every second, every minute. And even in these pastimes, like I was just like hearing a lecture by His Holiness Indradyumna Swami Maharaj. He gives such amazing lectures on Vrindavan pastimes. So he was saying that once there was like a pastime in which all these cowherd boys, they were just so thirsty because they were continuously playing for hours and hours. And, when they were playing, they forget eating, sleeping, everything. And then they're like, oh, we're thirsty. We're really, really thirsty, Krishna. And as usual, their just love for Krishna is so great. At any point of time, they just turn to Krishna for everything. So then they turn to Krishna and like, Krishna, please help us. We're thirsty and the Yamuna is so far. So Krishna just played his flute. And from the ground, bubbled up, a little pond came out. And that place is still known as Pakharapura. And the boys drank from that pond, either with holding through their cups of their hands, like this way, or directly like cows, just drinking like that way, because they're just boys, they just want to have fun. And what are the different types of games that they played over there? They played with fruits, with round fruits. That was their ball. They didn't have a ball like today. They had the balls were like round fruits, and they used to play catch with unripe fruits, and their balls would be made of, and they would have like wooden bats also to play with, and they would also play sometimes with this clusters of kunda flowers that are grown together in the lakes, etc. And so kunda flowers from the kunda, and they would make them into balls, and then they would throw at each other. And their laughter, the joy, the devotion, the ecstasy that they felt, the laughter was so deep and so high that it could be heard all over Vrindavan. Everyone would know at that time, Krishna and Balram are playing with their cowherd friends. And this is so amazing. And it's also described that, when Krishna would be playing the whole day, he would get tired and he would lie down. So he would lie down on a friend's lap. Another friend would, massage his legs. Another friend would be, fanning him with his cloth, with his chadar or something, some things that they had. They would play so many games even at Govardhan. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, our prominent Acharya, he says that I want to enter Vraja to watch these sport pastimes of Krishna and Balram with the cowherd boys. I want to smear the dust of these boys on my head. So Prabhupada is teaching us, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is teaching us that this is what we are supposed to do. These pastimes are meant to evoke our love and devotion, to understand that Krishna is our real, true, eternal friend. And those who are serving Krishna, those who are serving his devotees, they are the real friends. They are the ones who are taking us to Krishna. Like Srila Prabhupada, he's a friend. He used to always write your ever well-wisher. That's a friend. Only a friend can be your well-wisher. So we have to eternally be at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and the devotees and Krishna. Today, I'll also want to speak a little bit about Lord Shiva. I know we're having another session fully on Lord Shiva later, Bhagavad Shravan. But I think just a little bit because today is Mahashivratri. And it's really nice because we have Gaur Purnima coming up in around 2 weeks' time. So I thought we could speak a little bit, just some very few pastimes or a little bit about Lord Shiva's pastimes at Navdweep. Okay. Navdweep, which is the eternal residence of Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Shiva at Lord Chaitanya's home. Okay. So Navdweep has, Navadweep means 9 islands. Nava is 9 and Dweepa means islands. So Navdweep consists of 9 islands, and all these 9 islands represent one limb of the Navavidha Bhakti, that is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, etc. So there is an island called Rudradweep. The island is called Rudradweep amongst the Navadweepas because Lord Shiva has performed many pastimes there. And check this, Rudradweep represents the limb of Sakhyam, friendship. We are discussing about the Sakhya Bhav that the Cowherd Boys have with Krishna and Balram. And that was what today's verse we are discussing about. And Rudradweep also represents the Sakhyam aspect, how as in the mood of a friend we can serve Krishna. And Rudradweep is accepted as island of Lord Shiva because he performed many pastimes there. And even Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that this island, Rudradweep, is not different from Kailash. It's in the middle of, it's right there in the forest of Navdweep. And even just a tiny part of its effulgence can give light to the 3 worlds. That is how potent, not just Rudradweep, but all the islands of Navdweep are. Because that's the eternal residence of Lord Chaitanya, Karuna Avatar. And many, many sages reside there, unseen to us in their spiritual form. They're always there. Durvasa Muni, Ashtavakra, Dattatreya. They reside there because they have left the desire to merge into Brahman, but just to eternally serve Lord Gauranga there. It's so amazing. Just come to Navadweep and it evokes the feeling of love and devotions towards Lord Chaitanya, towards Krishna, towards Radha and Krishna. And specifically over here, there is a holy place in Rudradweep where it's called Neel Lohita Kshetra. And Lord Shiva resides there as Neela Lohita. And all the demigods, all the munis, all the rishis, they all reside over there. And Neel Lohita, he's always singing the glories of Lord Chaitanya. And he's always dancing in ecstasy. We've seen, the form of Lord Shiva as Nataraj. And Nataraj, there's a dance of devastation that Lord Shiva does. But there is also the ecstasy form of Lord Shiva because he's constantly thinking of Lord Shankaracharya. A very nice class was given by Achyuta Gopi Devi a few days back on Ekadashi. She described the glories of Lord Shiva. So I'm not going to go much in that part. I'm just going to go a bit on what Lord Shiva did at Rudradweep. Lord Shiva is constantly dancing there in ecstasy, in devotion, thinking about Lord Chaitanya. And this is, whoever goes and resides over there, they bring all the results that they would get when going to Kailash is increased 100 times by just seeing the form of Lord Neela Lohita Shiva over there. Rudradweep is also very, very famous because it is over here that Lord Shiva actually helped inaugurate or help start 2 of our very important Vaishnav Sampradayas. The Sampradaya under Vishnu Swami, which is his own Vaishnav Sampradaya, which is like Rudra Sampradaya, and one even by Nimbarkacharya, which we know as Kumar Sampradaya. So Vishnu Swami was a very prominent saint of South India. In fact, one of the first saints amongst the 4 sampradayas to actually start a Vaishnav sampradaya. And he, along with many of his disciples, were traveling all over India, and they came to Navadvip. And at Navadvip, in Rudradvip in particular, they were praying to Lord Shiva. And while praying to Lord Shiva, how were they praying to Lord Shiva? This is the important thing. They were praying to Lord Shiva by chanting the glories of Lord Krishna. That is how you please Lord Shiva, by chanting the glories of Krishna, by saying Hari Bol. And Lord Shiva got so happy with them. He was just so pleased with them that he actually gave his darshan to Vishnu Swami. And Vishnu Swami was stunned to see, Vaishnavanam Yathashambhu, Lord Shiva was directly there. So he was offering his prayers, his heartfelt gratitude to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva said that all the Vaishnavas are very, very dear to me. Those who chant Krishna's names are very dear to me. And now ask me for any blessing that you want. Because you are in my dweep. You are in Rudradweep. So ask me whatever boon you want. And Vishnu Swami asked that just please bless us with one thing, that we can establish a true sampradaya, which will teach the science of pure devotional service. And Lord Shiva was so happy, because people in general, they go to Lord Shiva to ask for material benefits. But here Vishnu Swami was asking for a sampradaya, a means, a way by which he could spread the glories of Lord Krishna. So Lord Shiva, Rudra, was so happy that he said that I am going to give you this benefit, that you will start a sampradaya, and it will be by my own name, Rudra Sampradaya. And this Rudra Sampradaya is also known as Shiva Sampradaya. He gave him his own name. And he's like, you will be blessed. Your sampradaya will continue. Until today, the Rudra Sampradaya is continuing in the form of Pushti Marg. Yeah, the worshippers of primarily of Bal Gopal, baby Gopal, but they're also worshippers of Radha Krishna also. And by the mercy of Lord Shiva, Vishnu Swami also had this desire to have the darshan of Lord Gauranga, and he also had the darshan of Lord Gauranga in his dream, where Lord Gauranga blessed him that yes, go and spread the glories of Krishna all over India. And when I come in this form, this happened like around 1,000 years ago or something. But he's like, when I come in the future as Lord Chaitanya, you are going to come as Vallabhatacharya. So Vallabhacharya is the prominent Acharya of Pushti Marg Sampradaya. And so we see that a very prominent Vaishnav Sampradaya, which is still date giving pure devotional service to thousands of devotees, Krishna devotees in India, even in the western part of the world, was due to the mercy of Lord Shiva in Rudradweep by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. In the same way, even Nimbarkacharya, it was through the blessings of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva actually told Nimbarkacharya, who was visiting Rudradweep, that seek out the mercy of the 4 Kumaras. They will guide you, and then you have to start a sampradaya, which will because you'll start a sampradaya which will be teaching pure devotional service to everyone. And we see that Nimbarkacharya, he got the blessings of 4 Kumaras in Rudradweep itself. And he got the mantra of worshipping Radha Krishna from the 4 Kumaras by the mercy of Lord Shiva. And till date, the sampradaya is going on in Vrindavan, in several parts of the world. Prominent of their main seat is actually also in Rajasthan. And this same Nimbarkacharya, when Lord Chaitanya came as Gauranga, Nimbarkacharya came as Keshav Kashmiri. And we know the pastime of Lord Chaitanya and Keshav Kashmiri. Keshav Kashmiri was like a very scholarly Pandit, and there was a debate between Keshav Kashmiri and Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya completely defeated Keshav Kashmiri. But at the same time, he so-called converted Keshav Kashmiri into a devotee. And Keshav Kashmiri completely surrendered to Lord Chaitanya, and then he left Navadvip to spread the glories of Lord Chaitanya and the glories of the worship of Radha Krishna. So, so we are so indebted to Lord Shiva. Even Shankaracharya, who is actually an expansion of Lord Shiva, he also came once to Rudradweep. And he came there actually to spread Mayavad philosophy, because that was the so-called thankless task that was given to him by Krishna. But and he stayed at Rudradweep too. But Lord Chaitanya said that, see, this is my dham, this is my place, only pure devotional service takes place over here. So please exit. So Shankaracharya was so pleased to have darshan of Lord Chaitanya. He just said that, yes, my Lord, whatever you want. A few days ago, we celebrated the appearance of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. It is in Rudradweep, the place of Lord Shiva, that he actually did. He did a continuous chanting of. He did a chanting of 1 crore holy names of Krishna. Shatakoti. It was like Shatkoti. It means like 100 lakh. That is 1 lakh into 100 times. That is 1 crore. Okay, Shatkoti Nam Japa he did at Rudradweep in front of his deities of Radha, Madhav, and God Hari. And he did that at Rudradweep. There is a wonderful Gaudiya Math even over there. So we are very thankful to Lord Shiva for blessing so many devotees. We're so thankful to Lord Chaitanya for giving us this, for showing us the path of chanting the holy names of Krishna as the means to get out of this material existence. We all are actually searching for a friend, who can always be with us, who really understands us, Suhridam, who knows our innermost heart, who knows our innermost desires. And who better friend than Krishna? This is what the Sakhya Bhav is, it represents. So we can pray to Shiva, we can pray to Lord Chaitanya, so that we can develop this friendship with Krishna. Know that because in all relations with Krishna, there is always an element of friendship. Yes, we are eternally the servants of Krishna, but Krishna always wants us as a friend, even though he's the eternal master. He wants us to enjoy. He wants us to join in his pastimes of eating samosas and kachoris with him in Vrindavan, always. And Srila Prabhupada is also a friend to, all of the fallen souls. Shiva is also a friend who's guiding us all the time. Lord Chaitanya, we have so many people who we have to thank and we have to follow in their footsteps so we can attain to Krishna. So at this day, I would really like to pray at the lotus feet of all these Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva, Srila Prabhupada, and definitely to Lord Chaitanya, to Lord Krishna, so that we can eternally serve at their lotus feet, get more and more people to enter into these pastimes of Krishna, in these wonderful, blissful pastimes of Krishna. So thank you very much. Sorry, I went a little bit over time, 5 minutes extra I took, but yeah, I'll end my class here. If anyone would like to share anything, any questions, any comments, corrections. Okay, let me see.
Very nice class, Nandini, Radhika. Non-sectarian. Very nice. Shastrik. Lord Chaitanya was mentioned, Lord Shiva, Sampradaya, Nimbarka. Just overwhelming. What a rich Sampradaya we're in.
Yeah. Yeah, we are in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya.
Here we have big thinkers like Jeffrey Eckler and Krishna Daya in our Sampradaya. Yeah.
Yes.
Prominent. Yeah. Jamuna Jaya.
Yes, Jamuna Jaya.
Haribol, thank you for class. I love that Ananda Bihari said it's sort of a retreat with you and your husband yesterday, today, and I had the association of both of you yesterday, today. So I'm just feeling so full. So thank you for class. And there's so many points I could say, but one of the things that really struck me when you said Srila Prabhupada was our friend. And I always say I think of him as my grandfather. But when you said friend, it's like, yes, he is my friend. And Yamuna Devi in her wonderful book, she at one point calls him the supreme encourager, which I always love, the supreme encourager. And like Lord Shiva, and like you were saying, like Lord Shiva, like Lord Chaitanya, so ever merciful. So when I'm feeling unworthy, down and out, I look to my friend, my grandfather, and Lord Shiva and Lord Chaitanya. It's like they wouldn't reject me. They are so merciful because they're so high. So thank you for reminding of that. And just the way you read the games of the children were just so awesome. It really just took me there. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, all these great Vaishnavas, they never reject anyone. They just want everyone to go back to Krishna, and they know what our condition is, what our state of mind is. They know how fallen we are, basically. So I definitely know how fallen I am. So yeah, they always look at even the smallest deed of devotion or good that we perform. They glorify that. That's what Lord Shiva is known for, actually, to just see a little bit good, and they're like, oh, this person is great, this devotee is great. That's the mood of Radharani. She glorifies even a new devotee, and the faults, the shortcomings of all of us, they just ignore it, or they're like, oh, that's okay, they'll come out of it sooner or later. That's their mercy. That's truly their mercy. Yes. Adipurush Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. One of the qualities we found so attractive in Srila Prabhupada, his delightful, playful innocence. Here's a elderly gentleman offering the most sobering and profound information imaginable. Yet his own, I remember just reading it, that when he was staying at the house in Pennsylvania, what was the name of the people? Agarwal. Sally Agarwal, she said, and his laugh was like an ocean. And he laughed a lot. And you see him delighting, playing with the tiny little child just learning to walk. And so that's an interesting feature. When we were in our youth, we used to say, don't trust anyone over 30. You ever hear that? Don't trust, because sometimes in the material world, as people mature and they're in material life, the conditioning comes in and they become very sober and even grouchy and harsh. And to maintain that childlike innocence, the Bible says you must become again like a little child to enter the kingdom of God. So we're hearing these sweet pastimes, these Cowherd Boys pleasing Krishna with delightful, playful antics. And we can remember that also, that Prabhupada showed us by his own example. He's showing us by his example. And that's our nature. Sometimes we have a loss of innocence in the material world. Our material desires we're born with all these little desire seeds, and then they start to sprout, and then we become fearful or greedy or angry. And, that's not a real nature. Our real nature is just like this. And like Mataji was saying, we're amnesia. We are reawakening that reality, that spiritual life is fun. And Vijayamuna Lajaya Mataji so much personifies that. So lighthearted. Yesterday in the temple room, she came running and gave me a big hug, just like a little child, and so innocent, and so joyful and loving. And here in Manhattan, where most of the people are not married, vast population not married. In the building where we live, there are 52 apartments. There isn't one apartment, not even one, that has children, right? And a lot of the devotees here were on the front line, so they're dedicated to the preaching and the maintenance of the temple and taking care of the program. So they don't always have that association with the children. The children keep us young, but that's our genuine, normal condition, and it can be revived. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Krishna.
And we should all be childlike, like Adipurusha Prabhu. It's not an apron. It's not an apron. It's a bib, right, Adi?
Tomi calls me Puddinhead. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Ananda Manjari, another childlike, pure soul, Ananda Manjari.
Hare Krishna. I wanted to bring back the point that I am taking away as like the most touching from the entire class, and I find that it's so beautiful because it again also acts as this reminder of like, oh, I'm so illusioned and I'm so used to my temporary identity that everything is filtered through it. And it's what you mentioned when it's like, oh, we see a couple on the street and we think, oh, I saw it in the movies, instead of I'm seeing the couple because Radha and Krishna are the divine couple, and without them being the divine couple, there can be no other couple in the entire universe, or the entire creation, not even the universe. Or the same thing of how would it be to actually live in a world when I see children play and I'm thinking, oh yeah, they're playing because Balaram and Krishna are playing, and this is the only way they can be playing right now in front of my eyes. And so I'm really appreciating this shift, and to even imagine how it is to actually embody that in my everyday life. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Day by day, we have to cleanse our mind, cleanse our heart, so that, as Adi Purush Prabhu was saying, we develop that, we regain the innocence. It's not that we have lost it, it's just covered, so that we can regain our innocence, the simplicity, just the pure spontaneous love that we always have for Krishna, but that we have kind of like forgotten over millions and millions of lifetimes of associating with material nature. So yes, in fact, everything around in this material world should remind us of Krishna and his pastimes. This material world is made so that yes, we our propensities could be fulfilled, but we just have to purify these propensities. If we see children, yes, the propensity is, yes, remember our time when we were playing with Krishna and Balram. If we see couples, yes, we are supposed to remember the divine pastimes of Radha Krishna. It's just a shift in consciousness, which is so very important. And that's the only way we have, that's the only way we can actually continuously think of Krishna. Because we can't shut the world around us, but we just have to shift the way in which we look at everything around us. Connect everything back to Krishna. Even the games we play, the food we eat, it's prasad. Whatever we do, the work we do. So yes, thank you. Thank you for highlighting that point again. Thank you. So I think maybe the altar might be opening anytime. Oh, but yes, Balkrishna Prabhu.
When the painters drew the arts of Krishna, the first time they drew Krishna with muscles and chiseled face, just like a model. Prabhupada said, like, this is your understanding of beauty. This is how beauty is for someone who eats meat. Prabhupada told me, this is not how Krishna looks. You have to change. So even in such a
Soft.
Yeah.
Soft, chubby, sweet.
So even painting Prabhupada had to correct our
Changes, misunderstanding. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Balkrishna Prabhu, for pointing that out. Yes. Yes, we have to know, we know Krishna the way through Prabhupada, through our acharyas. So thank you, Prabhupada, for this so much. And yes, the conch is going to blow now anytime. So we'll
Who's blowing the conch? Who's blowing the conch?
yeah, Nayan Manjari.
Nayan Manjari. Let's do it.
So thank you so much, the devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Nice. First class. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Great class.
Thank you.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Kula Pradeepa Prabhu. Okay. All right. This is it, dear devotees. So go out there, regain your innocence. Amrita Kishori Dasi, Bhima Das, regain your innocence. Bruce Prabhu, same thing. Domi, Suzanne, William, regain your innocence in bhakti. That's how we really are. So let's go practice it. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Love you all. Hari Hari Bol.